Hello everybody, I'm that Kamen Rider guy, and today I'll be talking about Geats, since the show is over. And so, instead of my usual hat, I'm just going to be wearing this lovely little festival mask I got. So, Kamen Rider Geats is over, and this is my review video on it. Now, this is mostly going to be my personal thoughts, opinions, and whatnot as Geats as a whole, and I'll be talking about the things I did like and the things I didn't like. Now, this is mostly going to be me sitting here talking about Geats to you guys and talking about the positives and negatives and whatnot. And I'll be inserting some stuff here and there, like little photos and whatnot, just to emphasize what I'm talking about, to give a visual. Stuff like this, and like this, and like that. No, not that one. Forget that one exists. Okay, so anyways, Kamen Rider Geats, which debuted after the end of Revice, had a good opening, in my opinion. Like, it had a good first opening episode. Now, a lot of people, I saw hundreds, well, maybe not hundreds, but so many videos on YouTube after it aired about other people reviewing it, like just the first episode, and talking about how it was the greatest opening to a Kamen Rider show ever. Personally, I don't think that. Like, it was a good opening. It left plenty of questions that still needed answers, and it was very action-packed, which is kind of something you want for Kamen Rider, because you want something to, like, hook you in and draw you to it. But I don't think it was the best. It was a good opening, but I definitely don't think it was the best opening. Like, but that is subjective. Because if you ask a lot of people, they'll say Build had the best opening, but again, subjective. So the story of Geats is fairly simple. You have a whole bunch of people who are given the title of Kamen Rider, and they're given these items that are called buckles that go with their drivers. And the whole premise is they compete in a contest to get their wish granted. Kind of something like the Dragon Balls from Dragon Ball Z. Except you have to compete with everyone else who has the title of Rider. And only one person can get their ideal world. Now, everybody writes on this little paper what they want their ideal world to be like. Whether it be a world without suffering, a world like maybe Mad Max, or maybe just a world where your least favorite food doesn't exist. It doesn't matter how major, how minor, or even how petty. If you want it, it can happen. You can even just wish for a world where your family, where every member that you've lost in your family is now alive again. It can be a major thing that changes the whole world, or a minor thing that no one would really notice. Again, sky's the limit. Now, Yukio Ace, the main rider, Geats, of Geats, he has been the winner for several Desire Grand Prix for a while, which is the name of the contest, the Desire Grand Prix. Oh yeah, I should say now, spoiler warnings. I'm not going to talk about Geats as a whole from episode to episode, but I'm just going to be talking about the major points and what I think was both good and bad. Now, this premise of everybody just competing to see who's more determined to get their wish, or who's better at the game, which is what it ultimately comes down to. They face these enemies called the Jamato, who are these plant-like monsters. Now, this is where the first flaws of Geats start to show, kind of. So, I like Geats up until around episode 15 or 17, like around that time frame. So, at first, it's the riders of the Desire Grand Prix versus the Jamato, who attack at random, have random games set up that the riders have to figure out in order to best them. And then later it's revealed that this old man here, whose name I can't remember, I deeply apologize, it has been the one growing the Jamato, and he is also their caretaker. He deeply loves and cares for the Jamato. And eventually he starts working against the Desire Grand Prix, who turns out has been organizing this Desire Grand Prix, the game, for thousands of years. And this premise is pretty good at first, until it becomes a whole issue later on, but I'll talk about that later. So, the main riders of Geats, right here, I'll put a picture here somewhere of what they are. You have Ace, Tycoon, Buffa, and Nago, who are the 4 essentially main riders. Other riders get introduced throughout, and some of them come back, some don't. Some are one-offs, and it just is what it is. Now, this becomes it becomes an issue later, but I'll get into that in a minute. So the first thing I like, the suits are really nice. The whole revolve with the driver and the different buckles, it's really cool. And I like the concept. Now, I don't hate CGI. I don't. I think when it's used creatively, it's really good. And for the first half of Geats, I think it was used really well. And again, the whole premise I didn't think was bad. But then the downfall of Geats starts when it's revealed that the Zaya Grand Prix, the administrators and all these other people who've been organizing it, so they're from the future, like way off in the future, and they've traveled to the past to watch people compete for their very lives for fun. Yeah, they do this for shits and giggles, and just to keep themselves entertained. This is the point where it starts to go downhill for Geats. At first, it's a small slope, and later on, it'll turn into a very slippery slope. So, for a lot of times, if you lose a round or you get eliminated in the Zaya Grand Prix, you're just sent back to your previous life with no memory of being a rider. This is not always the case. So this is an ID cord. It goes in the center of the driver, and it's whatever symbol here is the top half of the helmet that you will wear in Geats, or if you're a rider in the Geats universe, or timeline, whatever it is. So, if the ID cord gets cracked or broken while you're in the middle of the contest, or really at any point throughout Geats, you die. Well, okay, it's kinda, so that's how it was. There's a point where one of the riders is going around breaking all the ID cords, and they don't die, they just stop being riders. But in the beginning, that's how it worked. If you died during if this was broken during a contest, you died. And you were actually turned into fertilizer for the Yamato. Yes, dead riders were being used to help grow newer and stronger Yamato. Yeah, a little messed up, but that part I didn't mind, because that was a pretty dark and cool aspect. Like, it wasn't just, oh, hey, if you lose, maybe you can try again if you get chosen again. It was, no, you lose, there are consequences. So, the downfall of Geats. I stopped calling it a downfall because there were some parts I enjoyed. So, it's then later revealed that each rider is only chosen to be a rider if they have a sponsor. I say that because it's kind of convoluted, and it does feel like at times they just choose people at random. But, so our main riders, like the main 4 I mentioned before, they have sponsors. And so a sponsor is someone who they really like you and they want you to win for whatever reason, whether they want to see your wish fulfilled or you're just really fun to watch. Like Geats' sponsor, Zin, he just really liked watching Geats win all the time. So the sponsors become more directly involved after they reveal themselves, both to the people watching, you know, you and me, and to the characters within Geats when they reveal their existence. This becomes a whole problem later on, because then the sponsors get too involved, and at one point it's so convoluted because this annoying chick named Beroba, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce her name, she's just so annoying. Her involvement was just not needed, and her lasting as a villain for as long as she did, it just took so much away for it. So in my opinion, I think the Yamato should have stayed as the main villains of Geats. Now, I'm not saying that the Zaya Grand Prix management people, showing that they're just greedy, that they just are only in it for their own entertainment, that wasn't a bad idea. But them becoming really the main villains and becoming the main antagonist over the Yamato, I just didn't like it. And even Beroba, why'd they give her such a weird name? She outright destroys the Yamato Garden, and because of her involvement with the game, she's basically the reason that they get killed off. Kinda. I'll talk about that in a minute. So, the Yamato caretaker, the old man, what I think they should have done, because he eventually, spoiler, he eventually sacrifices himself, feeding himself to the strongest Yamato to empower it, to keep it alive, and to get revenge on the riders for always killing his precious children, because he views the Yamato as his children. And honestly, they should have kept that. He should have survived, kept going, and then became the main villain that the riders would have eventually had to take down, along with the management team of the Desire Grand Prix. Okay. Now that whole synopsis stuff is out of the way, it's time to talk about the character who was treated the worst in Geats. Buffa. Buffa got the short end of the stick in Kamen Rider, almost of any character ever, but in Geats, here's why. Okay, so the first question you might want to ask is, who is Kamen Rider Buffa, and why did they treat him so bad? Okay, so first two questions, but anyways, so Buffa, I can't remember the character's actual name, and it's very rarely said, honestly. He only joins the Desire Grand Prix because he watched his best friend die. So his best friend was a rider before him, not that we ever got to saw, because his whole thing, and even established in the first couple episodes, is that he is only participating in the Desire Grand Prix to do two things. One, defeat every other rider out there for revenge, and two, specifically defeat Ace, because he believes that Ace is the one that killed his best friend. And this is his motivation for a good while in Geats. It's his motivation before the sponsors are announced, before he joins the Yamato side. Yeah, he joins the Yamato side for a little while. I'll touch on that in just a second. And eventually, he just stops caring. That or the riders forgot about it. Probably both. So that's his motivation for a while. Now, did Geats actually kill his best friend, or was it the other greedy riders who were trying to thin out the competition at the time? Don't know. Never explained. Never a question that gets answered. Does Buffa ever get closure? No. So, in this picture here, the guy standing next to Buffa is a Yamato who has transformed into the memories of his best friend. So when people die and they become fertilizer for the Yamato can then take on their appearance and mimic them almost perfectly because they have their memories. And this was honestly the last time it was ever brought up. So Buffa dies. He gets defeated and his core broken. So he ends up in the Yamato Garden, and because of how many times he's been using the zombie buckle, or at least that's how they kind of explain it, he doesn't die. He's in a state of alive and dead. It's weird. And it's talked about for one episode, then never mentioned again. So he becomes half Yamato for a while. So the Yamato eventually get their own, right here, they become riders for a short time. They get their own buckles and ID cores. And once that's forgotten about, never brought up again. See, the Yamato should have been the main villain, because they showed evolving capability and they became their own riders for a while and were serious threats to the other riders. They couldn't beat them on their own. It took multiple people to take down a single Yamato rider. But because I swear the riders didn't know what they were doing. I swear the riders would just... here's how I think the writing staff went. They had a group of people for writing the story and the characters of Geats, and no one was allowed to be told no. Whatever ideas came up had to be put in the show. Because throughout Geats, it just feels like there's all these conflicting ideas. And again, no one's allowed to be told no. That's what it feels like. But anyways, back to Buffa. So he becomes a half rider, half Yamato rider for a little bit. And then when his sponsor, Beroba, well, she's specifically the sponsor for the Yamato because she likes watching other people be miserable. Yeah, she's a character made to be hated, and the actress does it very well. She's extremely annoying and easy to hate. So, She helps Buffa get his wish. What's his wish? To destroy all other riders. Kinda. So, the wish is, I want to destroy every other rider, but he wants to do it with his own hands. So, they give him a new form. No, they don't. So, I don't have the buckle because I don't really like it. I think it's okay, but I didn't really get it as merchandise. So, this is Buffa's buckle. Simple enough. So, his next super form, whatever you want to call it, is the zombie buckle and the golden fever buckle. I hope I have a picture right here and I'm not just holding my hand up. So, it's just that. But because of his wish, other riders can't touch him. Their attacks just bounce off or they phase right through him. It does nothing because his wish was for the power to destroy all riders. And because of this fever zombie Buffa form, this form, he's untouchable to the riders. And it's so lame. It's lame because they could have just given him a new form. And it's clear they had the capacity to do it because Geats got a new form, Boost Mark II, and Tycoon eventually gets a new form, though that is a bit later down the road. But it's lazy because the Fever Buckle was already way reduced at that point. So the question becomes, if this form was all he needed to destroy all the other riders and beat Geats, why didn't it work before? And I get the wish as a factor, but it's still stupid. And here's what they easily could have done. Now follow me. So how this is a hand. How when you use the zombie buckle for the top portion of the rider suit, the left arm becomes this clawed hand. Just reverse it. Make a second buckle where they link together, because that's what the final form buckles basically are. But instead of a hand, make it the foot. Make it the clawed foot, because that's basically all he gets. Yeah, Buffa just gets screwed over. Because again, eventually, he never mentions his friend again. He doesn't care. And even his whole resolve to beat Geats is gone. And that mainly does come from the Desire management team becoming the main enemy. But Buffa just gets treated so horribly. Even later in Geats, when Ace, Tycoon, Nago, they all get final forms, he's just stuck with this. Oh, and it's later revealed that he still had the fever combo thing when he fights Beroba and defeats her for the final time. Why was he using that before? Why wasn't he just using that before? It's dumb. It's dumb. It's lazy, and I hate it. Now, again, this is all my personal preference, my personal opinions. But that's what this video also is. It's my review and my opinions on Geats and why I don't like it. So, I get that Bandai, being the money-hungry guys they are, no offense, Bandai, but money's your first focus. Making your business. That is a business's first focus. Unfortunately. What often happens with Kamen Rider, especially nowadays, is Bandai will make a product. And like they'll make a toy that they want to sell, and since that now exists, the writers have to figure out how to get that toy into the story and make it make sense. Usually it's worked out kind of well, pretty well for the most part, but in Geats, it just takes away all the creative freedom the writers could have had. Now, if that's not the case, and it was written the way it is, and then the toys were made, then fault's all on the writers. But that aside, now let's talk about one of my least favorite things, and that is Boost. Okay, so in Geats, Ace, he gets some power-ups, which is expected. You know, he's the main rider. So Geats, his first power-up form is Boost Mark II, which is alright, I guess. I mean, I personally don't like Boost Mark II. Here it is. Hopefully I got it right here. Because of how scrawny it is. Like, it feels like it has zero armor. And I get its thing is incredible speed. But I feel like they could have just given it a little bit more armor. Like, even just around the arms and the legs. Because it feels like the regular Boost buckle, when people got it on their top or bottom parts of their suits, it's got more armor. It just feels, I don't know, scrawny. I'm not sure really sure what the word. It feels like it's lacking detail that should be there. Now, Boost Mark II eventually gets combined with the sponsors' guns. I don't know what they're called. They're blasters that the sponsors can use to transform. I'll say this right now, I don't like the CGI monsters or the CGI riders, the sponsors, because it just feels like lazy. It feels like it's lazy, and they only did CGI because they ran out of time to make suits or something like that. That's all my input on that. But it's weird that it gets combined with a sponsor's gun, because what I think they were meant to do, because at first it's just this. It just has the boost red armor, but then when it gets combined with Zen's blaster, it becomes, I forget the name, but if I find it, I'll put it down here. And it has white armor on it, so it looks like they originally meant for Magnum to be combined with it, but it wasn't that bad. It was okay to create it. It was fine at first, but it quickly wore off its awe factor. I know a lot of people were raving about it. Now, I'm not showing Boost Mark II or Mark III here, because this is the only boost buckle I have, because since I don't like it that much, I haven't had a desire to go out and buy it. Though maybe after the time of recording this video I will, since now that Gotchard's out, the buckles should be way on sale, since stores want to get rid of them to make way for the new stuff. But anywho, I didn't think Boost Mark II was as bad as Boost Mark III. Now, I'll say this right now, here's the final form of Geats. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, I think the suit's cool. And I think it's alright. As far as, like, how he gets it, actually, no, how he gets it's kind of lazy. But a thing for me with final forms is I give points for, like, how they acquire the final forms. If they're just given it and it's lazy, for me, it loses cool factor. Because you were just given it. Where's the awe? Where's the struggle? Though Ace does struggle a bit, because, spoiler, it's revealed his mother is the goddess of creation, which grants people's wishes. Again, I'm not going to talk about Geats too much as a whole, just the stuff I did and didn't like and how I rank it. So, Boost Mark III, the only thing I don't like about it is the buckle. So, here it is. Now, it's a buckle where it detaches to connect to both sides of the driver. And Tycoon's form, Bujin's sword, also is one of the ones that separates to double down. But here's my problem with that. Why is it just Boost? Because here's the thing. Boost was not exclusive to Geats. Anyone could use Boost. And if you're going to make the argument of, oh, well, only Geats could summon the motorcycle fox. No, other riders did it too. Other riders summoned the motorcycle fox. So, it just feels lazy. So, hear me out. It's when he detaches it and combines it, it's called Boost Mark IX, because he's a nine-tailed fox. Yeah, I had a feeling they were going with that way early on in Geats, that it would somehow tie into him being a fox and then nine tails. But, hear me out. Keep Boost Mark III. And then make a special Magnum buckle. Because the Magnum buckle, so Magnums have 6 shots. And this Magnum one has 6 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-shooter Magnum. So they could have just made a special white and red Magnum buckle that combined with Mark III. And it looks that way because the weapon he gets with Boost Mark IX looks like it's just a special Magnum. That aspect of it to me just felt lazy, and like they could have done better. They could have done better. So, as Geats is progressing on, they want him dead because he's defying them and blah blah. The people from the future aren't happy. And then it becomes all about becoming the bad end game, and no one should be happy, and now everybody's enjoying watching everyone be miserable. And even the sponsors are evil now. Yeah, the sponsors who are helping the riders are now evil. And I just couldn't care, because it all felt lazy. The biggest problem with the villains, it's like they didn't know who they wanted the villains to be, or they just killed them off too early. So, like with the Yamato, once all the Yamato were gone, they didn't know what they were going to do for villains, so they just haphazardly made the Desire guys the villain. Like, oh, let's just make the staff the villains. Then the villain guys got defeated. But, oh no, we need to still have villains, so let's just bring them both back, and let's make the sponsors the villains. It just felt so lazy. So, now a character I really didn't like and didn't really care for, I'm going to be talking about Daichi, or Sparrow. I think his name was Daichi, I could be wrong, but... So he's Kamen Rider Sparrow. And he's not too well liked because he's a deceiver, he's a liar. There's a whole point in the show where it's revealed that there's a traitor amongst the group. There's someone who's a saboteur. And he outs himself as the traitor. He doesn't say, I'm the traitor. He does stuff that the traitor would do, and then it turns out, surprise, he's not the traitor. Then why would you act like it then? Why would you do stuff that you should know? Because his whole shtick is that, oh, I'm smarter than everyone. Oh, I read books. Oh, I'm the smartest guy in the room, or at least I think I am. And then everything he does is just so stupid. So my issue is Sparrow. Or I think his name was Daichi. Again, I'm just going to call him, I'm going to refer to him as Sparrow. I'm going to refer to most of the characters as their rider names. Sparrow, eventually, after joining the bad guys, when he gets outed as the traitor, and he's not the traitor, again, dumb situation, he joins the bad guys with Buffa, Baroba, and the Yamato. And he doesn't really do much. I mean, he's a schemer and a conniver. He's a wannabe manipulator because people just believe him because they're gullible and they're naive. Manipulation-wise, anyone who can think, oh, this guy is probably lying, like Buffa, they instantly call him out for his shit. So eventually, he gets, his core gets broken when Buffa's on his rampage, and he gets sent back without any memories of it. And then he gets brought back in, and for some reason, he becomes this. So again, they brought the Yamato back with Sparrow, and somehow, out of nowhere, he's an evil mad scientist who can perform experiments with the Yamato and is becoming one. And for some reason, he's obsessed with gaining the knowledge of everyone who lives. Yeah, he's sending the Yamato to kill people. Then they become these fruits on a tree, and he eats them and gains all their knowledge and memories. And it's dumb. It is so dumb. Again, they wanted to bring the Yamato back, but they weren't trying to do it, and they chose the worst way, because the old man was dead. The caretaker was dead, so they had nothing else to rely on, I guess. Like, he even has his own Yamato form, this cockroach-looking thing, that never wins a battle and gets stomped every time. It's dumb. Eventually, he gets forced to join the good guys after Tycoon kicks his ass horribly. But again, where was this mad scientist stuff? Yeah, he thought he was smarter than everybody. He read books, and he was a conniving schemer. But he wasn't a scientist. He wasn't a mad scientist type guy either. It was lazy, it was out of nowhere, and it doesn't even last that long. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the end of Geats, and then I'll talk about the movies. I've been leaving the movies and hyperbole stuff for the last bit, but I'm not going to have too much to talk about those, because that's going to be more positive. So the final episode of Geats, this masked guy shows up, like 10 episodes prior, and then he's the guy they're fighting and blah blah. So the final episode, the opening credits scene where Sumeri, this woman here, who was the navigator for the Desire Grand Prix, and there's an opening scene where she's pointing the magnum at Geats, and it's implied she shoots him. And that's how the last episode starts. So Geats did not need 49 episodes. I get why Revice needed 50 episodes. It was symbolic as the 50th anniversary. And I enjoyed Revice from beginning to end. I really did. But Geats, it needed like maybe 45, 47 episodes. Again, because they kept killing off enemies too soon or resolving problems before they needed to, they kept writing themselves into corners and needed to write themselves out of it. So I don't know what this obsession with the Reiwa era and having to have an opening, like the intro scene, having to have every scene be some sort of foreshadowing event or needing to make sense. With the exception of 01, because 01 didn't really have that. It just had a really cool opening that didn't have any foreshadowing. It was just cool. And that's what you don't have, just because you can make a cool opening. And because the songs are all great in the openings of Kamen Rider, especially in Reiwa. You don't need to have every little scene in the opening be some sort of dramatic foreshadowing. Because that happened in Revice, that happened in Saber, and it just wasn't necessary. So, Geats dies, and then the masked guy, I forget his name, I don't really care to know his name, because I'll explain his whole bit in a minute, because it doesn't make sense, and it's even dumber than anything else in the show. It is easily the dumbest thing in the show. I'll get there. Just bear with me. So, no one remembers being a rider, and everybody's living their happy, perfect little lives. And then there's a flashback, because turns out it's not like that. So, when Geats obtained Mark 9, he became a god of creation like his mother, but without being a prisoner to the Desire management team. But he still doesn't have full control of his powers. Now, skipping over a bunch of other dumb, needless stuff, if you want to know, just watch Geats. Just watch Geats. I'm not going to go over the whole show, scene by scene, episode by episode. At least not in this video. So anyways, there's a flashback where the riders have their power taken away because the masked guy can suddenly manipulate time or something. I don't know. It's random. They give him powers out of nowhere just because they need him to be a strong villain. Anyways, and then Geats shows back up because turns out dying was all part of his plan. Haha, he fooled you. It was all his plan. So when Geats was killed in the opening scene of the last episode, he then, by shedding his mortal coil, he became God, or Kami in the Japanese language, because Kami means God. He became the god of wishes and creation, I believe. It's not really explained. But anyways, he becomes the god of creation, shows up, and now Masked Guy is not able to take away his powers because he's no longer your generic rider like the others. And then Geats restores the other riders' power, but only their base forms. Nothing stronger than that. But it's fine, because with an awesome montage of fighting and everybody working together, they beat the man down in what's actually a pretty cool fight. I just kind of wish they'd been more creative and used their final forms, but it is what it is. And then they beat him down. Geats delivers the final blow, and his mask, not Geats, the masked guy, I don't really care to know his name, his mask breaks, and it's revealed that he's Ace. He is Yukio Ace from the future. Yeah, so it turns out he was Ace all along from the far future that the rest of the management team's from. So, I remember when I saw that scene, I was just sitting there, and I thought, now, pardon my language, that's fucking stupid. So, he was Ace all along. Why? How? How long's he been interfering? What was his goal? Was this all part of the master plan of God? I don't know. Because then suddenly, Masked Guy Ace is our Ace, and he's good, he snaps his finger, and everybody gets a happy ending. Everybody gets their wishes granted. Everybody lives happily ever after. It's so lazy and dumb! Oh yeah, and Buffa always gets the short end of the stick. So here's a little meme for you. Buffa, everybody else got final forms, but Buffa. So here's a picture of what he's getting in an after Geats ends. So I actually have a poster from the store. So they're making this final stage, I think, movie or special, and Buffa is getting a new form in this movie, which shows that they could have given him a final form, but they were just being lazy. He really gets the short end of all the sticks. Oh, man. Okay, let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about the winter movie, the summer movie, and the hyper battle video. Okay, so this is going to be the shortest part of the video. I just wanted to give my quick little review and thoughts on the summer, winter movies, and the Hyper Battle video. So first, the shortest one, the Hyper Battle video. A little 30-minute video. It's a common thing with Kamen Rider. I think almost every series has gotten one of some degree. Almost. I know Kuga didn't, but that's because their budget was almost nothing. Anyways, Hyper Battle video that involved Geats and Buffa obtaining Ryuki buckles and then fighting with it. It was fun. It was alright. But to me, it was just alright. Like, the whole thing was just there to sell more buckles and to give people some more Ryuki stuff, since the winter movie left people a little disappointed, I'd say. Now, onto the winter movie, the first movie of Geats. I thought it was pretty good, but personally, I'd give it 6 out of 10, just because. So the movie starts off pretty good, but one of the main selling points of the movie was, hey, the Ryuki Riders are going to be making a pretty big appearance. Kind of a lie. So it was also, a Rider crossover movie, crossing over Revice with Geats, and for the most part, that was really cool. But in my opinion, just personal, the Ryuki Riders didn't get nowhere near enough screen time, and Ryuki himself just shows up for the last 5 minutes, makes a final attack, and that's it, or final event, and that's it. But it's not the worst Rider movie I've seen. I've definitely seen worse. Now, the summer movie. So this movie I thought was pretty damn cool. So the concept is Ace has been separated into 4 different riders. Well, 4 different beings, each one with a different personality and mindset. So, without giving away too much of the movie, because I think it's been fully subbed by now, and you can watch it on some official Toku websites. I don't have any specific names. But the movie, as a whole, pretty good. I liked it. The main villain was fantastic. He was a great, dark Geats in a way. And, so Geats is, sorry, I'm stumbling on my words. This is the special buckle Geats gets for the movie, and this was a gift given out at the theaters here in Japan when you buy a ticket for the movie. Although now that these were mass produced, they are a little bit easier to get. And this, I got on my trip to Tokyo recently, is the special Gotchard card and Geats, I'm not really sure what kind of buckle. I don't remember this buckle's name, but this was how Geats obtained this form. This is his movie form. So to use this form, you need this buckle and Mark III when it's collapsed together. And like I said, at the time of recording this video, I don't have Mark II, I don't have Mark III/9, because I just haven't had a desire to go out and get them. But now they're probably going to be on sale since Gotchard's out and they need to sell all the old stuff as soon as possible. I'll probably get it, and I'll definitely do a video combining all of this. So, this was also the movie where Gotchard made his first appearance. And we got kind of an idea of what his gimmick's going to be and his abilities. So, I can talk about Gotchard later, because that's not the focus of this video. So this movie, I give it 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. The fights were great, and I loved the dark Geats guy. I forget his name. He says his name. What was it? I think Geats Cross, like Geats X. I forget. But anyways, yeah. That's my whole thoughts and opinions on Kamen Rider Geats. So yeah. I want you guys to comment down below and let me know how you viewed Geats. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just okay? I gave my personal thoughts and opinions, and personally, I give Geats 5 or 6 out of 10. Again, I didn't think it was horrible. I thought some parts of it were horrible, but as a whole, it was alright, I guess. I have mixed feelings about it, honestly. I don't think it's as great as a lot of people are making it out to be. But this is also just my personal opinion on it. So yeah, this has been my review of Kamen Rider Geats. If you guys want me to review other Rider series, let me know. Hey, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you. I know this is a bit of a longer one and probably not fun watching me just go on about how much I don't like something. But I just want to say thank you for making it to the end of the video, and I hope you guys will like, comment, subscribe, all that. I've got more great videos coming in the future. mostly Kamen Rider stuff, some not Rider stuff, and we are almost at 400 subscribers. And let's shoot for 500. Let's go even higher and beyond. It's just so great. Thank you guys all for the love and support you give me here on YouTube and on TikTok. And one more thing I want to say, I did get several Gotchard boxes. If you've been following my TikTok, I was able to get a bunch of Phase 1 Gotchard boxes. And I was originally going to do giveaways for those, but I'm looking more to selling them. Just because my budget's not doing so well, and I really can't afford to do any giveaways at the moment. Mainly because I've never been sponsored, and sponsors on YouTube are a great way to receive money. But since I don't even have 1,000 subscribers, which is the bare minimum for you to even get ads on YouTube, so you can get a little bit of money from YouTube, sponsors won't even bother reaching out to me. But that being aside, I just wanted to mention that real quick. And again, thank you guys if you made it to the end of the video. I hope to see you in future videos. And remember, it's always Henshin time.